Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Kiefer, and today I'll be teaching you about the lesson plan we have for English speaking students or teachers with non English speaking students. So, what exactly is the problem? Well, this isn't exactly a problem necessarily, but there is a lot of immigration students in America nowadays. But the issue is that not very many of them speak English, or they do, they don't speak it very well. They don't have a lot of words, or they're just not understanding the syntax of how English is spoken. Well, this becomes an issue when the vast majority of teachers in America only language is English. And so they're expected to teach these uh, non speaking English students at the same level as natural students here in America. And that's a bit tricky because, well, if you're around a group of people, say sixth, seventh graders that's been speaking this language their entire life, and you have a student that's been speaking the language maybe a year at most, well, how are they supposed to keep up with the rest of the classmates and keep up with the schoolwork? It gets really, really difficult. Well, that's the issue that this teacher that I spoke to with has. Her name is Robin Curley. She teaches math at the sixth to seventh grade level at the Clarksville Middle School. And, you know, the thing about math is that generally numbers are universal. So if you see 4 minus 2, it's going to be 4 minus 2 no matter what language you speak or if you speak at all. But math isn't just numbers. There are a lot of word problems that are associated with it. There's a lot of syntax that goes with it. And sometimes we apply real world problems to these math problems. And so we need to introduce some tools to help these non English speaking students to uh, help them figure out how to apply these tools, these techniques, or whatnot in the classroom and in the real world. And it makes it easier to assess students as well. See, now what technology do I plan on implementing in the classroom? I plan on using Kahoot, Storybird, and Read and Write for Google Chrome. Who is this good for? Well, it's good for everyone. Not even just the non English speakers, but it's good for English speakers as well because it gives them a chance to practice their skills, lighten them up a little bit, toughen them up a little bit, to mold them a little bit. It just makes it easier. It just makes it easier for everyone. And it's also good for everyone at Clarksville because all the students at Clarksville have their own Chromebooks. They're assigned to them at the beginning of the school year. They're assigned to them throughout the semester. If we get new students, everyone gets their own Chromebook, so we can apply these tools and techniques to everyone. And it helps both teachers and students become a little bit more tech savvy. It teaches them how to research useful technologies, research useful tools in the classroom. Just easier for everyone. Now, the first one is Kahoot, and as you can kind of see what exactly uh, they advertise themselves as, kind of a fun little quiz game. Now, here's an example of a question you can ask in math with Kahoot. Like, oops, 4/7 of the birthday cake was eaten. Your dad ate half of what was left. You get to finish the cake. How much is left? And then you have a bunch of fractions on here, and you can set the timer for anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute. And so you can just create like a fun quiz out of this instead of doing a traditional quiz, and you get to choose what the right answer is and what how long everyone gets. And so you can also make this kind of a competition, or you can make this an actual quiz. Uh, like I said, you can use it as a fun quiz, and you can either have people do it as groups, like if you want to make it more challenging word problems, or you want to assign the uh, less academically inclined student with the more academically inclined student in math. Then you can have students kind of help each other learn or teach each other a little bit. And when you make it a bit of a competition, it just makes it more fun for everyone and they become more inclined to learn and figure things out because everyone wants to be the best in their classroom. Or you can just do it as a single person quiz, just kind of get through it, make that everyone's grade for the day. And you can either do it as a kind of a participation style or you can do it as an official quiz in class. And it kind of gives you tools to see each student whose nickname, because they can either their full name or their nickname, and you can kind of see how many got right, how many got wrong, and just kind of based on what you want to do it that way. Um, you can display the question at the board on a projector. You give each student a code, and they can do it on their Chromebooks, and then everyone is on the same page. You can't have some students go faster than others. Like if everyone does question one, you won't have some students going on to the next question and getting ahead. Kahoot make sure everyone stays on the same page. Now, some students might feel a little rushed, but considering that we're all doing it on our mobile devices or our Chromebooks, no one will really see where we're at, and so you can keep a little bit of privacy, and some students don't feel as rushed. Like I said, you can set a time limit too, and then as students get progressively better and better and better, you can decrease the time limit for each question. How you would assess? Well, like I said, you can either do it as a participation grade, you can do it as a point value for each question, or you can do kind of as a peer assessment. Like I said, it kind of displays your ranking by your nickname based on how many points you got right, how quickly you get right. And so you kind of feel like assessed by your peers, and your peers can know, like, okay, they need a little bit extra help. So when they ask questions in class, we can give them a little bit more effort, we can give them a little more credibility, we can help them out ourselves. There's just a bunch of different ways we can go about this. Now, this one is called Storybird. Now, this is predominantly used for English and language arts, because what it is basically a teacher assigns an image, and then a student has to write either like a short little paragraph or a entire essay or something to the length that the teacher sets, and they have to write whatever it is based on the image that they are seeing. And so a lot of people ask, well, how can you use this with math? Well, there are plenty of images based on math in Storyboard. This is just one of them. Basically, a student and their pet is looking at their math homework and is like, I don't know what is going on. This is just confusing to me. Like, what is this nonsense? And so you can kind of choose an image related to math, or uh, you or your students can go in the world and find an image that relates to math. And it could be like they go outside and they take a picture of a building, and they have to say how the architects used math to figure out dimensions or something along those lines. And you basically choose the length that they have to write on, and when they write that, you're basically going to judge them. Okay, did they actually choose an image that could be related to math? Did they write the length limit? And did they do a good enough job? And now you can make this like an actual essay, but I would see more as it just being like a quick little assignment. You don't have to invest a lot of time. You don't have to invest a lot of effort. You can just give them this small little writing assignment, and it helps you evaluate based on where everyone's skills are at the moment. Uh, let's see. And then this tool, Read and Write for Google Chrome. Like I said, all the students are assigned Chromebooks at the beginning of the school year. And what this tool uses, it helps translates and edits students' writings. This is especially good for the non-English speaking students, because one of the things that trip them up the most is, especially in most other classes, is being able to write their thoughts clearly and effectively. And so, my apologies, everyone. And so, uh, this tool will help them improve their English skills. And a lot of classes and a lot of assignments are online nowadays. And so, this is just a little plugin. It's not even an app or anything, it's a plugin that you download on your Chromebook. It's in the Google Chrome store, so you don't have to go to a weird third party site. It helps translate everything to their native language, and then they can write things in and then they can try and write things in English. And basically, it's kind of going to edit it for them, kind of show them suggestions, what they're doing wrong, similar to Microsoft Word or Google Docs, but instead it works on every platform and everything. Like if they have to go on Blackboard, for example, it's going to catch the little eccentricities or the oddities in their writing style and edit it for them, and also reads their writing assignments out loud for them. So that way they can kind of hear it spoken how it should be spoken. And so it kind of gives them that um, extra practice and hearing how the language is spoken. And this is also good for English speakers because sometimes, especially for younger students like sixth, seventh grade, they write things down, but they write things how they think it and they don't really think how it sounds out loud, as which is a skill that we have to learn as we progressively get older. And so the program can read what they wrote out loud and they kind of hear like, okay, that sounds differently than what I'm trying to think of it. And so they can edit it and make it sound more natural sounding, which is really, really good tool, especially for students that are really shy about the topic they are writing or how they write, because some students don't like others to read their writing just because they feel like they are really, really bad writer. There's no assessment for this tool. It is simply just a tool to help people improve their English writing skills. How do these tools relate to Arkansas standards? Well, based on all these standards right here, you can really see that all of these problems that we want as teachers is to find problems that can relate to the real world. Like use real world mathematical problems. Use real world mathematical problems for fractions and decimals. Real world mathematical problems with common factors of two whole numbers, and yada yada yada. Like we want to try and find problems that we can relate to the real world because that helps the lesson sticks better. Like if we just tell a student to multiply 12 by 12, 144, which is like, okay, that's a skill that they can probably remember, but it's going to take a lot of practice for them to remember 12 times 12 equals 144. If we can relate it to a more realistic standard, like you're sent to the grocery store to get 12 bags of 12 apples a bag. Well, granted, that's less realistic, but when you can apply that to the real world, that makes it stick a little bit better. And when you make it a funny example, like 12 bags of 12 apples each, students are kind of remember 144 apples because that just sounds extremely ridiculous, which it really is. Uses in class. Each of these helps evaluates each student's English proficiency. Like with Kahoot, for example, you have to read the problem quickly, you have to understand the problem quickly, and you have to be able to answer the problem quickly as well. And so if some students are taking, like if you have a 20 uh, second question and some students are answering the question in 5 seconds, are they answering it because they are understanding what the question is asking them, or are they simply just guessing to get more points? Or if they're taking the full 20 seconds, is it because they're struggling to understand what the problem is asking them, or are they just really slow at math? And this actually helps you kind of understand everyone's proficiency. Storybird, well, you have to write in English, so that just helps them understand a little bit better in English. And then Story Read and Write or Read and Write Google Chrome, that's just a useful tool to help everyone's English proficiency. And sometimes when you come across different words or terms or just different situations where similar to words or terms are used in, it kind of gives you a little bit better understanding of what exactly is being asked of them and so on. What can we expect? Well, we students have a certain expectation for math. You They expect to just show up. They're expected to just be shown an equation or a problem, taught how to solve the equation or problem, and then repeat that for the next week or two until they finally have a test on it. When you start implementing different word problems or writing assignments and things like that, you're probably going to expect a little bit of a pushback or a little bit of resistance. But I think once it becomes more commonplace and more proactive, and helps, and you demonstrate, look, it's helping you in all areas, not just math. I think students will begin to better understand what it is you're trying to attempt. And I'm not going to say they'll become more receptive to it, but I think they'll become more, well, tolerant of it. And I think it'll also help improve their understanding of English language and their reading, as well as their reading skills. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.